This is Dolynny TV, ladies and gentlemen. Merry Clinchmas. And what a better way to put the icing on the cake that is a playoff spot than against the team that is, of course, the top team by far in the NHL this season in the Western Conference. That much guaranteed in the Colorado Avalanche. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to begin tonight's little dealio here that we're doing on Dolynny TV by saying it's been a long while since I last wore one of my Dolynny TV hats. Why? Because it's been rolling around my car, and every time I think to grab it, well, it's buried somewhere in the back seat. But today, I'm cleaning out my car at work, getting ready for this evening, going out with my family and kind of catching up with some family in town, and I see the hat. And I'm like, you know what? This is it. I'm throwing that on. That looks like a good thing to wear tonight. And you know what? It turns out to be a great dang thing to wear tonight for, as I said, Clinchmas. We find ourselves now securely in a playoff spot. Nothing in the next few days, last week or two, is going to change where we find ourselves now. The beautiful part of all this is Rogers Place, Oilers fans. I'll see you on Thursday when we get to go to Rogers Place for the first time this season for an Oilers game. I'm very much so looking forward to that because, my goodness, it has been far, far too long for a guy like me. I believe since the 2019-2020 season, the last game I attended was in early February that year against the Arizona Coyotes. And let me tell you, you want to talk about a difference in the crowd. Will I notice it? Heck yes, I will on Thursday next week. But again, biggest thing I thought about driving home, and this is what really got me wanting to talk on video for you tonight, is simply this Oilers team is exactly what every playoff team should be. A whole bunch of guys out there to prove an entire league wrong, right? Everybody has one mission entering the playoffs, and the Oilers have that little extra fire that you need to get the job done. Not necessarily saying they're going to get the job done, because you are kidding me if I want to go out there and state what I think for another year in a row, just to have people clowning me 3 years later about something I said in a video that I still can't fathom how it affects people's lives to such a degree, but that's okay. We're not there anymore. Where we are is simply here, is what I think is this team has that extra fire that can get the job done in the postseason. Why? Because they have so much to prove wrong, right? Everybody that said, Mike Smith, get him out of here, get Koskinen out of here, we need a goalie from somewhere else. That was mentioned on Overtime Open Line this evening after the Oilers game on 6:30 Chet, right? Like, everybody said this team was doomed around the trade deadline. Jay Woodcroft arrives. Jay, I said, you're my man for the job. No, Jay, you are the man for the job. So that feels fantastic to now on Clinchmas be able to say loud and proud. You know what? I come up with a lot of dumb things. I've said a lot of dumb things in my time covering the Oilers. But you know what? That was one thing I knew guaranteed that I was not going to be wrong on. Jay Woodcroft is an absolute beauty. So, that's number one, right? The goaltending, proving everybody wrong down the stretch. And, well, you know what? You need to make the playoffs. You're going to make the playoffs with good goaltending and the team we have. Now, another guy they mentioned on Overtime Open Line coming back into the lineup, and the past, 4 games making an impact unlike he has since his first season with us, Chris Russell, right? A guy on the D kind of just disappeared over the past 2-3 seasons and comes in, re-emerges himself since returning from injury, and has been an impact player every game, game in, game out, different ways, different styles. But you know what? You need that out of your depth D. One thing I've always been critical of this Oilers team for is a lack of depth scoring from the D. You know what? You can yell at the forwards all you want, but when your bottom 4 defenders are a black hole in the goal column, that's going to cost you every single dang time. So you know what? It was nice to see the Oilers get some goals from a guy reinserted in the lineup as a 7th D, and now out there scoring 2 goals in the last 3 games after not scoring any 125 games in a row. That's pretty phenomenal. So again, another guy going out there and proving these guys wrong. And you know what? Even to the degree Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid continue to prove everybody wrong, continue to prove how bad they want this, right? Yes, okay, you can get out there and say, well, they're going to drag this team to the playoffs. But you know what? The thing is, it's not about dragging your team to the playoffs. It's about making your team better along the way. And they continue game in, game out under Jay Woodcroft to get better at doing that task. My goodness, is that a beautiful thing to see. We've seen the develop now 3 years in a row into the playoffs under this Oilers kind of regime that we have under Ken Holland. And you see the development in Leon and Connor each year progressing, getting closer to that final form. And this year smelling ever so closer to the final goal than we have before. And oh my goodness, can we not mention Evander Kane, Kyler Yamamoto, Jesse Puljujärvi, the wingers in the top 6. Zach Hyman, he was meant to do what he's done this year. We're not even going to include him. Fantastic effort from him, but he's done exactly as advertised, so we don't have to praise him too much. But you know what? Those 3 guys, right? Puljujärvi, Yamamoto, every season they've been an Oiler, they have been a question mark in the lineup, and they come in this year. Yamamoto starts slow. Puljujärvi starts hot. X cross that way, and away both players go, but both players continue no matter what they do in the lineup. Game in, game out, they continue to be impact players one way or another. Evander Kane steps in, and you get the best legit goal scorer Connor McDavid has had in his entire NHL career, not named Leon Draisaitl on his wing, and the effects pay off for the cheapest dang contract you're going to find for a point per game or dang close to it goal scorer in the NHL. Fantastic, phenomenal effort there from Kane, Puljujärvi, and Yamamoto this season to get us right here to merry friggin' Clinchmas, baby. Absolutely. So that's big time, right? And you can go up and down the lineup, right? You could have wrote Derek Ryan off, sent him away, never seen him again, but he sticks around. He does the job. And I find it funny in a game we find ourselves on the penalty kill 6 times. The post-game broadcast show is talking about guys like Ryan McLeod, Derek Ryan, who don't show up in the score sheet as guys who won the hockey game tonight. You know what? That's the biggest thing in the playoffs, is not necessarily the guy who scores the 1 goal to win it for you. He's not the guy that necessarily won it for you, per se, in the playoffs. That's the most beautiful thing, and I hate the argument nobody pays to see the third line scrubs out there doing nothing in the playoffs. Well, let me tell you, you know what? When you are literally choking on your tongue, you're so excited for what happens next in the game, in a 0-0 game, tied 10 minutes to go in the third period, and Derek Ryan's out there do or die play at the blue line. You know what? You're going to care about what that third line scrub that you had nothing good to say about all season is doing on the ice. So you know what? To heck with just all skill all the time in the NHL. The playoffs are a whole different beast, and if you aren't choking on yourself every second of it, just anticipating the worst, hoping for the best, you ain't doing playoff hockey right. I'm sorry to say. And that's really all I got to say on that one. But my friends, you know what? We're here. It is what it is. We got 1 week to go. We're into the last week of the season, the Out East road trip. Columbus on Sunday, back home Thursday against the San Jose Sharks. Oh, man, I'm going to grease my way into the Friday game, too. You're kidding me if I don't have Thursday, Friday booked off work to go close out this NHL season and then get into some playoffs. And oh, I might have a hookup or two that could find some playoff tickets if a guy can find a day or two off on the schedule at work. But my goodness, my friends, Jay, you did it. You did exactly what I advertised you would do. And that feels great because you know what? The fine folks in Bakersfield, California, they told me 4 years. You know what? The second he arrived, he was going to be the answer in Edmonton. He needed his time. He needed to do it right. He needed to get there naturally. And you know what? Natural selection in Edmonton means firing a head coach. I'm sorry to say that's the way we do things up here in northern Alberta. But you know what? End of day, it comes to fruition. And Jay Woodcroft, the best thing since sliced bread for us Oilers fans here this season in 2021, 2022. And you know what? End of the day, I can actually sit here and enjoy it. You know what? The hard part's yet to come. I get that. Don't get me wrong. It only gets tougher from here. But playoffs in 3 straight years, those old excuses that I've heard for the entire time that I've done this silly little shtick here on YouTube are getting tired and old and running out of gas game by game. And now we have the chance to put the final nails in the coffin of what's been a long, tumultuous tenure for Connor McDavid as an Edmonton Oiler. And you know what? It all starts early May, and we're in the dance, baby. We are in the dance. How great does that feel? Ladies and gentlemen, I hope to talk to you a lot here in the next little bit. That said, you're never quite sure what comes down the pipe. And again, life remains the priority, but we did it, right? You know what? I was going to put my face on this no matter what, because end of the day, I'm still here. I'm still rocking it, and I can't wait to go celebrate with all you at Rogers Place Thursday, Friday next week to close out this season. Merry Clinchmas, everyone. Have yourselves a great Friday night. Go out, enjoy, get ripping. You know what? Crack that bevy you've been waiting to do all night, because it's going to be a good long weekend to enjoy Clinchmas. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Tyson, this Dolynny TV. Yes. Oh, yes.